Hi, I'm Ben Belt. I've had a nice little run at Decoy recently, a little festival before Christmas and the first Winter League. We've come down today to have a look at the lakes, a few tactics ready for the up and coming Winter League final. Right, so if we start up at the strip lakes, they go in order and they're spelt out with Decoy. So damson, elm, cedar, oak and yew. Damson's a bit different to the others, mainly small fish, not small fish, but say £1, £2 F1s, carp, lots of barbel. So you're going to be looking at catching short, mainly pellets, tapping in micros, expanders on the hook, 4 mils, following the fish out as the day goes on. If you're lucky and you've got enough depth, you're probably looking at catching the edge as well, even if it's cold, and you're still going to catch short on that lake even if it's icy. Moving on to Elm, nice lake, lots of barbel, F1s, decent sized carp, noted pegs, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then any peg opposite. That's the far end of the lake. So it's the same with Elm, oak and yew. You really want to be sort of 2/3 up the lake. Either side of the bank doesn't really make any odds, but 2/3 up. Cedar, you want to be about 3 or 4 pegs up from the car park, maybe 5 pegs up from the car park. Again, either bank. It's where the main sort of brunt of the fish seem to be. There's still fish to be caught everywhere else, but that's where the main shoals are going to be, and you could have a real bumper day, a couple of £100, pretty realistic, even if it's sort of frozen solid a couple of days before. Tactics, I try and fish, I wouldn't go too light, maybe 0.11 at the absolute lightest, but nice light rigs as long as the wind allows for it. 14.5 metres, pellet line one side, maggots the other, tapping in, start maybe 5 maggots one side, a few micros the other, see which works best on the day. If you're on the fish, you'll probably barely need to feed anything. Other pegs, if it's a bit harder, you'll probably end up sitting on a pellet line, get yourself a couple of roach in the net, and then sit on your pellet line and wait for a couple of proper fish. There's a lot of the lakes at Decoy, loads of silvers to go at the strips. There's not as many, so they're not really worth targeting. If you're getting a bite of chuck, you can keep putting them in the net, but you're not going to really win anything doing that. So you're better off sort of, even on the harder pegs, sitting out for a carp. If we go on to oak and yew, again, around sort of peg 10, a couple of pegs either side of peg 10, and then sort of 20, 22 opposite. Pegs either side of that's going to be your best bet, or your best areas. And if I had to sort of put money on it, I'd have said it would be one off of oak, around peg 20, 22, or peg 10, getting on for £200, I'd have said. Definitely £150 plus, depending on the weather and the conditions on the day. I say ideally you want to fish the lightest sort of float you can, so if there's no wind, 412s, you can, if it's windy, you're going to be getting on for maybe 0.8 of a gram to keep it still, but you've got to keep it still or you're just going to end up sort of foul looking fish. Little bomb rod on the strips, definitely worth a chuck. Little bomb rod or a little maggot feeder. You ain't going to want a lot of bait, mainly sometimes you want to chuck a bomb out just to stop foul looking, and if there's that many fish there, you're lifting into sort of false indications on the pole. So a little bomb rod, it can sort of wang around every chuck and put some fish in the net for you. Right, moving around from the strips, Beasty Lake, probably, well, it is my favourite lake easily. Awesome fishing all year round. This time of year, loads and loads of silvers to go at. Short line, maggot, top kitten 2, loose feeding all day. You'll catch skimmers on it, sort of all day on and off. An odd F1, and the F1s can come solid last couple of hours, or mainly last hour, or even the last 15 minutes you can have 3 or 4, another 10 to 20 pound in the net. Best sort of 24 is the peg on Beasty when it's cold. 29 and 30, both good pegs, and then 10 and 13 on the back of the spit, nice area. Anywhere else, it's a reasonably fair lake to be fair. You've got a few noted flyers, but you can catch fish from everywhere. My tactic on there, ideally you want to have an early carp, get yourself a head start. So whether you're going to chuck a waggler to the island, a little tiny feeder, maybe a pop-up, whatever you're confident in, everything works. Everything has its day. So if you can get yourself an early carp, then maybe jump straight on your silvers line. If you're getting some bonus fish, you can stick on that. or you've got the option of going long pole. You won't be able to fish maggots, you'll probably just get bitted out, so it's more micros and expanders. And even if it's freezing, you can get away with pinging some sort of hard 4mm pellets, sometimes even fish hard 4s on the hook, well in a band, or 6s, because there's lots of tiny little skimmers, you can get sort of pestered by them on a long pole. It's alright catching them short and quickly, but long pole, you want to become about of an F1 or a carp really. Lots of sort of different ways to go at it. If you're happy catching silvers, you can put 20-30 pound of roach in the net, and you've got a couple of carp and a few F1s mixed in, you're going to have mega points. Good weight on a day beastie, I'd have said 60 to 90 pound probably to win the lake, 40 to 50 good points. There's 20-30 pound minimum on every peg really, unless it's been real cold. If it goes real cold, Beastie does fish a bit harder, but there's always still bites to be had. Right, 6 islands and 4 islands, they'll be in on the day as well. Nice little lakes, loads and loads of options, features everywhere. Almost every peg will have something to fish to. Even if you've not got an island on 6 islands, you'll have an edge. Almost, not guaranteed, but I'd be surprised if you don't have a bite at some point in the edge. Them 2 lakes, because you can reach features with the pole, I'd always, 9 times out of 10, start dobbing. If you see someone's fed some bait and they're catching, great, you know you're sort of safe to feed a little bit, get a few bites that way, but I'd always take it nice and steady, start off, dob around, find some fish, see a fish move, have a look where that's moved. If not, work your way along the island, but again, up your edges. There's no reason you won't catch fish in your edges, and then later on in the day start to introduce a bit of bait in the edge. Should have a few bites there as well. Proper carp in sort of 6 islands as well. Lots of F1s, but you're mainly going to be catching carp, I'd have said. Nice fish, 4 to 8 pound stamp really. Once you come to feeding for them, you're going to be looking at really a pellet approach, similar to Beastie. Long pole, 13-14.5 metres if the wind allows, then tapping a few micros in, expanders over the top, again pinging some hard pellets over the top. And 6 islands, definitely your short maggot line. Even if you don't catch F1s, the silvers are a real nice stamp in there, so you're probably not going to catch them as fast as you will on Beastie, but they're real nice chunky roach. Nice weight builders. If you're waiting for a bite for a carp for a long time, put some weight in the net with some silverfish. 4 islands, exactly the same really, fish it the same. You don't know where the fish are going to be on the day, could be one from any peg on there. 6 islands, you've got a couple of noted pegs, but depending on where the wind is, that moves the fish about a lot. 8 and 9 are good pegs. Opposite them, you've got 11, 13's a good peg, and then the main bowl at the start of 6 islands, peg 1 and peg 24, 25. You've got just looks like you've got open water, but there is a sunken island. You can find it really shallow on top of it. You can dob on top of that island. It looks to everyone else like you're dobbing in the middle of nowhere, but you're on a feature, so it's worth having a look. Yeah, peg 2's a nice peg. Peg 2 and 3, you've got a small island. You can reach less than 13 metres of pole. So if it's windy, you'll be able to dob a rig a lot sort of easier and better presented than someone who's got an island 14.5 metres, 16 metres away. So weights for 6 islands, maybe getting on for £100. If it's a real cold, still day and the fish are sat in front of someone may be able to dob themselves £100 and have a nice, easy, steady day. If a bit of breeze up and the fish are moving, then £60 to £80 would be a real nice weight. But £40 to £50 for getting decent, nice points, I'd have said. 4 islands are most likely, it was last year, it was a split section with loos. So again, similar sort of weights, probably not as high, maybe £60, sort of lake win or real good points. Similar sort of weights on loos. So if we go on to loos, little horseshoe shaped lake, 15 pegs on it. Everyone's already probably heard of peg 6, noted flyer, whether it's middle of summer, middle of winter. Lovely peg, loads of room, loads of options, but you've got a huge great reed beg to the far side, whether you want a waggler, little method feeder, hybrid, pop ups to that. Be surprised if you don't catch on that peg, and it's 9 times out of 10 that peg will win the lake. But there's still fish to be caught all the way around. Similar approach to sort of Beasty and 6 islands, but rather than casting or fishing to an island, you'd be maybe having to cast to the far bank. Long pole, 14.5 metre pellet line, and again plenty of silvers to be caught on a short maggot line. Pegs 1 and I think it's 15 the last peg. You've got some reeds sort of up your banking, so again some dobbing to be done there. The rest of it's open water, you can't reach the far bank with a pole, but nice still day you can have a dob along the far bank with a waggler. Nice day's fishing really if there's some in front of you. Right, we've gone to Horseshoe Lake, nice little lake, just before you get to Beasty. You sort of park just before Beasty, walk in between a little stock pond and Beasty Lake, and you're into Horseshoe. Starts peg 1 on the right hand side, obviously goes round in a horseshoe shape, ends up peg 19 or 20, I think it's 20. Noted pegs on there, basically the 2 far corners, so 7 on the first corner, 13 on the other corner. Basically fishing it the same as Lew's really, short maggot line. Very good lake for F1s, so if the F1s come on there you could have a real nice day, and you could catch them a lot earlier than the other lakes I'd have said. Long pole and pellet, I don't think it will be, the fishing probably won't be hard enough that you need to start tapping maggots in long, but if it's desperate, and the same with any lake, if it's real hard, tapping a few maggots in long will get you some bites. Again, you've got the option for a dob along the far bank with a waggler. It's sort of too far for the pole, maybe 20 to 25, even 30 metres wide in places. There's a few old sort of, I say old, there's some sort of lily beds that have died off all over the place. If you know where they are, dobbing on top of them can work, or if when you're plumbing up, you find an area, you think, well, I'll keep snagging something up, shallow up a little bit and have a dob on top of the lily pads. It's normally worth a few fish. Weights on there, I'd have said somewhere between 60 and 80 pounds, or maybe a bit more to win the lake, depending on if the fish are shoaled up. You're going to want 30-40 pounds minimum for good points. Yeah, definitely 30-40 pounds for good points. So today we're on Willows Lake, real nice lake, loads of features, 1 main island, a couple of smaller islands. Fishing it similar to Beasty, noted pegs on there, 15, 16, high 20s, high 20s and sort of 30s really. It goes up to sort of 33, 34 I think. Peg 1 can be a nice peg because you can reach the island on the pole. You will also you can fish up towards the bridge, so again lots of dobbing. Lake's frozen solid today, so we've had to sit on peg 7, which is peg 7 and 6 were the only 2 pegs that were free of ice, well, on the whole complex this morning, so we've come and sat on peg 7. Not normally a great peg, you weren't particularly happy if you drew it in a match, but it's been pretty solid today to be fair. We've tapped a few maggots in to see how the day would start, and we've had a fish first bung and caught pretty steady most of the day really. Tactics for here, again, I'd always start tapping a few maggots in on this lake. There's lots and lots of different sort of fish in here, everything, decent silvers, F1s, carp. If you can reach a feature, I'd start dobbing, or if not, I'd probably start short, tap a few maggots in, see what's there, and work my way out really. Couple of lines long, maggot line and a pellet line, see which works best on the day, concentrate on that. Little pop-up or tiny little hybrid feeder to the far bank. A couple of the pegs you've got sort of gaps in islands, you can chuck a waggler in the gaps, that can be real nice if the fish are sat there. Weights wise, £100 I'd have said, getting on for £100 on Willows. Good section points, £50-60, unless it's freezing cold. If it's real cold, then they'll drop a bit, but you're still going to want, someone's going to want £100 to be there or thereabouts. So tackle wise, coming down to decoy, typical winter carp fishing really. There's no lakes that are mega deep. Deepest you'll find anywhere is probably 6.5 foot, most of them between 4 and 6 foot. So anything from 410s up to 0.8, maybe even a gram. You do get a bit of wind there, especially on the strip lakes. They can be quite windy, and you want to be able to present your bait properly. So anything up to a gram on there. But if it's nice and calm, no wind, the lighter you can fish, the better it's going to be. Hook length wise, on the strips, I wouldn't be looking to drop below probably 0.11, 0.12, because there's proper fish in there. I don't think they're really line shy, and if you're hooking proper fish, you want to get them out. Most of the other lakes, I'd be happy to go to sort of 0.10 on my maggot line, 20 hooks, reasonable hooks, not too fine wire, because you're still going to hook an odd F1, maybe an odd carp or barbel if you're lucky. And then again 0.11, 0.12 on my pellet lines, and I'll normally have a stronger rig set up, 0.14, 0.15, just in case. If you're on them and they're eating, there's no point risking it. Get them all out. Elastic wise, real light. I prefer really light this time of year. If you've got to pull fish away from snags, the most I'd use is probably a 10 hollow. I don't really go any stronger than that. I've only got a couple of kits with stronger stuff than that in, and I've not got them out of the bag for a long time now. Short maggot line, as light as a 5 solid elastic. Put it through a puller kit, so you've still got a bit of control, but it means you're not going to bump as many fish. And if you're fishing properly and quickly on that short line, it can be worth £20–30 a roach. So you want to be fishing for them properly. Bait wise, for any of the lakes here, little tin of corn, change bait, handful of expanders for the hook, a few 4s and 6s hard pellets, pint or 2 pints of micros, and at most 3 or 4 pints of maggots. Strip lakes you're only going to want probably 2 pints of maggots because you're just tapping them in really, whereas the open water lakes, you could probably, if it's been mild, 3 or 4 pints of maggots, you'll get away with putting a bit of bait in. Obviously start slowly, trickle a few in, and if you think they're there, plenty of fish and they're feeding, keep putting it in. That allows some better fish to come into the peg. So for anyone coming down practicing, there's opens Tuesdays, Saturdays and Sundays. They're normally advertised on the Decoy Facebook page, or you can give the fishery a call. Speak to Johnny. Johnny runs Decoy Lakes. Nice guy, he'll put you right. He's normally in a tackle shop in the morning as well, so if you want any bait, tackle, you can get pretty much anything you need here. Give him a shout, he'll sort of help you out. And the same when you draw on the day. He's a nice, friendly, approachable guy. He'll soon tell you, put you right. He's told us where to sit today and we've caught a few, so can't go far wrong with that. Cafe, there is a cafe here. It's not always open, it's just a small match, but they'll soon let you know if it is or isn't open. It will be open on the day of the final Winter League. You'll be able to come and get your breakfast here. And if the opens are big enough, then it's open at the weekend. You can come and grab your breakfast here. You don't need to go anywhere else.